Welcome back to the PolyInnovator channel. This is about the sustainable pillars. We are talking about the 4 pillars philosophy in this series, and we just went through every pillar individually. Now we're talking about sustainability with your pillars. The basis for all the pillars is building them up. Think about the Greek temples to Zeus and stuff like that with the big columns, allowing you to see the decay or the crumbling if they have been broken down. Maybe one pillar is actually torn in half or something like that, versus having 4 pristine pillars fully built out, nice and strong, they're all supporting the same weight together equally. Versus if one is broken or one is damaged, then that pillar is weaker and that part of the roof is not going to be as well supported. And so that kind of visualization, I think, is helpful when it comes to understanding what each of your 4 pillars do for you. You are that temple. They always say your body is a temple, and each pillar keeps that temple alive, and I mean that literally, as well as holistically taken care of, stability. So, and you do that, you build them up by constantly pushing past plateaus. Now, what I mean by that is with exercise, you're pushing past your physical hurdles, being able to run farther, lift more weights, lift more reps, or mentally learning new things that are hard, pushing yourself into new endeavors and learning about new types of knowledge, or pushing past learning plateaus where you're stuck on a subject, you can't quite figure it out. Even with the Feynman technique, breaking it down, you still can't learn it, pushing past that. Spirituality, trying to push past any kind of breaking points when it comes to how long can you meditate. I don't know why, but for me, generally, I can't go past 13 minutes. Almost on the dot, after 13 minutes, my focus wanes and I can't do it anymore. I have done longer meditations than that, but those were special occasions, as if I was doing like a special workout kind of thing. And even emotionally, pushing past some negative feelings. Maybe you have some kind of trauma that you need to process. Now, obviously, you should go to a therapist and have that taken care of too. But I do think there's a lot of, if you think about it, there's a lot of emotional, I don't want to say trauma, but emotional misunderstandings that you might have internally that you can process yourself. Therapy helps process the more advanced ones, and that's why a lot of people should do it, especially now that there's a lot more trauma across the whole country, but I digress. Point is, there's a lot of things you can do by yourself. Eventually, you might need to get help. If you, for example, got hurt, you need to get a physical therapist to help you get past that recovery phase. But maybe you just need to accelerate, so you get a personal trainer. Then mentally, you might get a tutor, but let's say you actually have something really deep you need to know, so you need an actual teacher or master. Then you have spirituality. You could have a guru, but maybe you also need an actual sage. There's different levels to it. So personal trainer, physical therapist, tutor, teacher, let's say guru, and then philosophical or maybe spiritual leader. And then emotional wise, you might have a life coach who just helps you direct and helps you realign whenever they think something's going off. So perhaps I'm not encouraging the whole life coaching business because that's neither here nor there, but a life coach or mentor, someone to help guide you past your problems. Sometimes they can see whether or not you have some sort of bias that's bothering you. And that bias could be from your own childhood or something like that. And I mean this, I don't know why I'm going on a tangent like this, but I mean this as in like, there's surface level people who can help you, and there's deeper level people who can help you. And either way, it's all about making sure all 4 pillars are sustainable. And sometimes you could do that by yourself. Sometimes you need a little bit of help. Sometimes you need a lot of bit of help, especially if you got sick or something like that. Now, focus is only that of that one thing at a time kind of thing. You can't really juggle. You can, but only between switching fast. So only if you switch really fast. Now, juggling is something I talk about on this channel a lot because of polymathy, but in this case, it's more about switching between different pillars. Sometimes, actually, pretty much all the time, you need to be managing all 4 pillars, but you can't focus on 4 things at once. So like today, I'm going to go exercise. Hopefully at some point I'll meditate. I'm going on walks to kind of clear my head. I'm trying to do these little bits here and there to help maintain my pillars, if you will. I think this summer I'm actually working really hard on rebuilding my body pillar because the last couple of years I've been very lax in that department, at least in my view. Compared to some other people, maybe not, but in my own view, I'm not doing enough. And so yesterday I did 8 laps in the pool, 30 tricep dips, 30 push-ups because I want to push myself to new levels once again. I can't necessarily be learning right now because I'm spending so much time creating content and also doing the exercise and doing my job. And maybe tomorrow I can focus on some learning, that kind of thing. Understanding that it doesn't have to all be in one day. Sometimes you can. Sometimes those are some of the best days. But you need to think about throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the quarter, and throughout the year, how can you split up your attention between all 4 pillars? And that's why the quarterly alignment is around Ikigai and 4 pillars. The 4 pillars require you to build one up at a time, then work on another, and then another, without letting the former one or last 2 decline too fast. Juggling many balls, but not by letting them fall. So you're juggling, try to make sure none of them fall. And so don't let any of the other pillars fall behind. For example, I feel that my body pillar got left behind, at least compared to, it was one of my strongest pillars, and it still is. But compared to how it was in 2019 and early 2020, I was like up here. Then over the last couple of years, I went down and I let it kind of decline too much. And I think that I needed to keep that one going better while also doing my other stuff that I had been focusing on. You can't predict life. Like last year, I got deathly ill, completely ruined all trajectory and momentum. And like sometimes you might even just get brain fog, which is something that's not great to have. Or have a spiritual crisis, or have an emotional outburst. You can get sick, brain fog, so body, mind, spiritual crisis, spiritual pillar, emotional outburst, emotions pillar. Each one has their own version, if you will. Each pillar can have an external stimuli that affects your pillars, because one pillar getting affected impacts the other ones as well. And then you need to rebuild them all afterwards. So sustainability in the 4 pillars requires you to think about it holistically, but also being able to switch between them all. That's all for this episode. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns down below in the comments below. I try to make sure I get to all of them. Thank you for being here. Cheers.